Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Free to download and play, link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this review for the new Chaos Space Marines Codex. It's been a long time coming. Chaos Space Marine players, it is a tragedy really. They have been neglected to a large degree, which is kind of strange because Space Marines versus Chaos is one of the big themes that runs throughout the 40k universe. But finally, I think we are at a stage where Chaos Space Marines have a mightily impressive range of models in plastic, brand new. And now finally a full 9th edition Codex for them as well. So good news all around. I'm sure a lot of Chaos Space Marine players will be happy. So the question is this Codex any good? As I'll do this review under the watchful eye of the new chaplain riding the bike for the Imperial Fist, just fresh from Siege Studios. There's a couple of the Outrider bikers there as well. Perhaps the Space Marines watch with nervous attention here as this Codex review for the Chaos Space Marines takes place. For discount, 40k do use the link in the video description below for the outposts. They ship across the UK and across the European Union. Discount of about 20% off 40k, Age of Sigmar, a load of other gaming systems, paints, accessories as well, and for the majority of those countries, UK plus European Union countries, there is also the opportunity, if your order is large enough, for free shipping with all the duties paid as well, which is a great way just to keep the cost of the hobby down. So check them out, link in the video description below. So Games Workshop sent me a copy of the Codex, also a copy of the cards. Look at the size of that. That is the biggest deck of all of them. I think it's so large because it's got extra stratagems for all of the various legions represented in the Chaos Codex. So they've just lumped it all into one big set, like so. So, fair enough. I wonder if they do the same for Space Marines, such as Imperial Fists, Crimson Fists and so on. They'll lump all the stratagems into one big deck. That may well be the way it goes. Codex review here, what's going to be interesting is there's going to be parallels with some of the weaponry and loadouts for Space Marines incoming at some point down the line, some of the weapon profiles and so on. What we see here will give us a good indication of what may well come for the Space Marines in their new Codex when it arrives. So we'll review here. I'm going to come from the angle if I was to collect Chaos Space Marines, what units I'd choose and so on. From a gaming point of view, what units are good, but then also hobby-wise, what models look really good on the battlefield as well. Sort of a medium-sized Codex, about as big as the Tower Codex. It's like too big. We'll take a flick through some of the early pages. Here's the new artwork. Yeah, I think it's a good reflection of what Chaos are all about. Into Abaddon the Despoiler, Demons and the Warp. I've not seen this artwork before. It looks new. Very strong style. The Traitor's Tarot. The Black Tower. The Exile. The Imperium Nihilus. Masters of Woe. Demon Engines. The Lost and Damned. Black Legion. It's an epic storyline, really. The purity of the Space Marines, and it's corrupted, and then there's a heresy, traitors, and then this great epic battle that takes place. It is a very strong storyline for sure. So Black Legions are the classic Chaos Space Marines in their black and gold armour. Word Bearers, big long history with them. Night Lords, the Iron Warriors. So you do have some very strongly themed colour schemes going on for Chaos Space Marines. You got the Secretive Alpha Legion, the Emperor's Children, you got Fabius Baal, Huron Blackheart, Warzone Villamus, Legacy of Renegades. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying a Renegade Guard would be good. Here's the colour schemes for different varieties. Brazen Beasts, the Cleave, the Company of Misery, the Grey Death, Flawless Host, Deathmongers, Magma Hounds, that's a cool title, the Purge, the Scourge. Okay, and then we've got a showcase of the models. So, resculpt from the Chaos Space Marines, the chosen ones, all looking excellent, or Chaos Chosen, sorry, all looking really good. Chaos Cultists, they've redone the Chaos Terminators, all in plastic, brilliant work. You got the new Cursed Cultist ranks, you got Torment models, finally, some mightily impressive, these are really good. You got Mutants, some of the characters now, such as the Dark Apostle, excellent models. Havocs look excellent. Yeah. So Games Workshop really have corrected the collection here. More Chaos Cultists, different style. The Legion Possessed look fantastic. The Obliterators, fantastic job on those. So surely Chaos Space Marines now really well represented. The chosen models, absolutely fantastic, brilliant models. Warp Smith's been redone as well. Got the Maul of Fiend, which is an older model but fits okay, it's alright. Got the Lord Discordant, which is, I think is a very impressive model indeed. Now fighting against the Adeptus Mechanicus, fighting against the Ultramarines. It's a Black Legion versus the Ultramarines, classic battle. Okay, so we've had a big selection of units and all newer sculpts and mightily impressive. Yeah, so I think finally Chaos Space Marines have a very nice array of models available now. So we're on to the rules. This will be a full review, so we're going to cover everything. We're going to look at unit profiles, weapon loadouts, stratagems, warlord traits, just go through the whole lot. I'll try and pick out what I think are stronger combinations, so a good chance just to immerse yourself in the Chaos Space Marines Codex. So detached abilities then, first of all. So you've got to include models of Traitoris Astartes keyword. Chaos Space Marines attachments gain the Champions of Chaos, Mere Mortals and Slaves to Darkness abilities. They gain Legion Traits ability as well, so that will be these legions across here. And then troops units gain objectives secured as well. So for Champions of Chaos, include a maximum of 1 Chaos Lord, 1 Demon Prince and 1 Dark Commune unit in each Chaos Space Marines detachment. So you can get around that with like taking a double patrol, for example, but there are some limitations, but it's nothing too bad. Mere Mortals, you cannot include more Cultist units than Traitoris Astartes core infantry units in each Chaos Space Marines detachment, so you've got to balance that out. And a Cultist character model cannot be a Warlord if your army contains any Heretic Astartes character models, just getting the structure right. Then you've got Legion traits, all Traitor Astartes units, excluding Cultists and Agent of Chaos units, and units described in the Slaves to Darkness, and units described in the Slaves to Darkness rules, see right, with this ability. And all the models in them gain a Legion trait, provided every Legion unit from your army, excluding Agent of Chaos and unaligned units, is from the same Legion. So Black Legion, for example, all the models have to have that. The trait gain depends on which Legion they're from, as shown on the following pages. If your Legion does not have associated set of Legion rules, you must instead select Legion rules for your army to use. See opposite. Okay, so you're going to fall into one of these 4 categories, basically, whatever Chaos Space Marine Legion you're taking. So I'm not going to run through these here, it's just giving you structural restrictions on what you can and can't do depending on what style you go for. I don't think I need to go through any of that, there's no rules as such, it's just saying you like they become elites or certain keywords you gain and so on and so on. So we'll move on past that one. So as what I'm going to do here for legions, I'm going to trim down some of the stuff that I'm going through here because this codex, and it's the way Codex is going at the moment, there's just so much stuff and it's a struggle to do the review because there's too much stuff to go through, and then I don't want to make it a video that people are not going to be interested in watching as well, so I'm going to try and strike a balance here. So what I'm going to do for the legions, because if you look at the legions here, just for example, you've got Black Legion, you've got a trait, they all come with an extra secondary, they all come with 6 Warlord traits, a page of relics, and a page of stratagems. Now that's for Black Legion. You've then got word bearers are the same, and then you've got Alpha Legion and all the others, and it's going to turn this into a monster of a video. So what I'll do, I want to give a flavour of each of the legions. So we'll go through the legion's ability to give you an idea of the way each of the legions is going to operate on the battlefield, and then once you get a hold of the Codex, then you're free to go through the details of the Warlord traits that you can take, because a lot of 80% of the time traits and stratagems and so on, it's starting to get very repetitive because there's so many of them. So things like extra AP -1 in close combat, fallback, shoot and charge, there's kind of stratagems and abilities that repeat themselves over and over throughout the different codexes for the different factions. So you'll find them either as Warlord traits, relics or stratagems. And so I don't really want to get bogged down in that. I want to get through the book and through to things like the unit profiles to see what kind of loadouts, what the weapons can do, call out some of the points values at the end as well. So, because if I do a full-on review, it's going to be like a 3.5 hour video, and it would be torture, which might suit the Chaos Space Marines quite well. But I want to try and keep this review tidy enough and not get bogged down in the smaller details. So I hope you can understand, but codexes have changed now. They just loaded up with so much stuff, and it's not really practical to go through all of the rules here. But I'll try and cover sort of the main stuff here. So we'll go to Black Legion, and we'll cover their trait. So it's Black Crusaders. Each time a combat attrition test is taken for a unit of this trait, you can ignore any roll modifiers to that combat attrition test. So Black Legion, they're really sort of your generic type Chaos Space Marine option. Sort of a generally good at all different things, and then as you start to go into the other legions, they become quite strongly themed. So then there's another ability. Each time model of this unit makes an attack, add 1 to attack's hit roll if that attack is a ranged attack and the target was the closest eligible enemy unit to that ranged model when the attack is made. So that's fine. And then the attack is a melee attack, and the attacking unit made a charge. So quite straightforward. So if you charge, you get +1 to your attack's hit roll. And if you're shooting, if it's the closest target, then you get +1 to hit roll as well. So nice and straightforward, it's quite easy to remember. You then get a secondary, you then get a page of Warlord traits, you get a whole page of stratagems, you get a page of relics, and then that's repeated for all of the different legions across here. So we're going to word bearers, we'll try and get a flavour of what these are all about as well. So their Warlord or Legion trait is Profane Zeal. So each time model this trait makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed heroic intervention with this turn, you can reroll that attack's hit roll. So rerolling hits, very, very strong, really is good. And then the second ability is if you take mortal wounds, it's a 5+ feel no pain built in, which again is really good. So these Legion traits are looking strong here, all looking pretty good. Traits, page of relics, page of stratagems, and then onto the Night Lords next. So Terror Tactics is their ability. So units with this trait have the following ability. Terror Tactics is an aura ability. Whilst the enemy units within 9 inches of this unit, subtract 2 from their leadership characteristic. So if you work this way, you could cause a lot of trouble for enemy units. Subtract 1 for combat attrition tests taken for that unit as well. And each time model this trait makes attack with a melee weapon, if the attack targets unit that was below half strength from the attacking unit was selected to fight, or if the attack targets unit that has a leadership characteristic of 5 or less, that's +1 to the wound roll. It's a good strong thing, quite a tricky one to get that one to work. So again, massive variety that Games Workshop are giving you, like a page of relics just for one of the legions. I guess though it's instead of a full-on supplement. Stratagems, right, Iron Warriors next. So each time this trait makes an attack, the target does not receive the benefits of cover. It just says of cover, so any type of cover. And then each time an attack is allocated to a model of this trait, if the attack has an armor penetration characteristic of AP -1 or -2, the armor penetration of that attack is worsened by 1. Okay. So that's their ability. More sort of durability here with the Iron Warriors. And then on to Alpha Legion. Really nice strong theme going on with these, this turquoise and the neon kind of green. Masters of Duplicity with these, so more of a subtle and subvert type Legion. Each time a ranged attack targets a unit with this trait, if the attacker is more than 12 inches away, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If the target contains any models with wounds characteristic of 10 or more, the attacker must be more than 18 inches away for the benefit to apply. And units of this trait are eligible to perform an action or declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. So great tactical flexibility here. If a unit with this trait declares a charge whilst performing an action, the action is still failed. But you can still fall back and fight, which is interesting. Okay, so that's Alpha Legion. Then there's the Emperor's Children. Flawless Perfection. Each time a model of this trait makes an attack, you can ignore any or all hit roll, weapon skill, and ballistic skill modifiers. And each time a model of this unit makes an attack on unmodified wound roll of a 6, improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. So that's okay. I'm drawn towards rules-wise, the word bearers quite powerful. I'm thinking of a Chaos Space Marine army sort of nastier than Space Marines, more prone, but it would lean more towards getting stuck in, getting into close combat, as the artwork would show you. It's Chaos Space Marines just stuck in amongst the enemy and just hacking limb from limb. So that's the theme of them. You got Red Corsairs next. So units of this trait are eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which they're advanced. So you got a nice quick option here. Models of this trait count as 2 models when determining control an objective marker, or 5 models if they have a wounds characteristic of 10 or more. Got some stratagems, relics, traits, and then secondary objective. Creations of Bile as their experimental enhancements. Add 1 inch to the move characteristic models of this trait and +1 strength as well. And each time a model of this trait is destroyed by a melee attack, if the model has not fought this phase, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking model's units finish making the attacks, and then it's removed from play when making these attacks. If any of the destroyed model's characteristics change as it suffers damage, for the purpose of determining which characteristics on its profile to use, the destroyed model is considered to have 1 wound remaining. Stratagems, relics, Warlord traits for these. So that's the legions. So then what you have on top of all of that stuff that you've seen, you've got your generic standard stratagems, 4 pages of stratagems. I usually go through these for Codex reviews, so we'll go through these here. This is whatever Chaos Legion you're going to go for, you can be using these in your games as well. So for stratagems then, Death to the False Emperor is a command point. Use a stratagem in the fight phase, and a trade Taurus Astartes unit from selected to fight. And to the end of the phase, each time Heretic Astartes model that unit makes attack against Adeptus Astartes or Sanctic Astartes, you can reroll your hit rolls. So nice and cheap and nice and strong. You got Demon Forge, which is 2 CP or 1 CP. Use it in your shooting phase or fight phase. A Demon Engine model from your army selected to shoot or fight. At the end of that phase, improve the weapon skill, ballistic skill characteristic of the models in that unit by 1. So it's 1 CP for regular, 2 CP for Titanic units. Nice. So I reckon I could use that on something like a Smaller Fiend, for example. Yeah. It's shooting or fight phase. How useful. Yeah, very useful indeed. Fury of Khorne. 1 CP. Use a stratagem in the fight phase and a trade Taurus Astartes Khorne unit from army selected to fight to the end of that phase. Each time model in the unit makes an attack, 6s auto wound. 6s to hit, auto wound the target. Grandfather's Blessings. 1 or 2 CP. So it's a Nurgle unit in any phase. Is selected as a target of an attack to end that phase. Each time an attack is made against that unit, wound rolls of 1 to 3 fail. If it's 5 or fewer models, it's 1 CP, otherwise it's 2 CP. You got Hatred Eternal for 2 CP. Use a stratagem at the end of the shooting phase or at the end of the fight phase. Select 1 Legionnaires unit from your army. If it is the shooting phase, that unit can shoot again. If it's the fight phase, that unit is within engagement range of enemy units. The Legionnaires unit can fight again. Wow. Shoot or fight again. God. It's great, brilliant. Off to a really strong start here. Yeah, you want Chaos Space Marines to be an army to be feared. Murderous Perfection, 1 CP. Use your stratagem in your shooting phase or in the fight phase. When a Traitoris has started, select a unit from your army, select to shoot or fight. Once during that phase, when resolve an attack made by a model unit, you can change the result of 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 damage roll to be a 6. Next, Veterans of the Long War. This all sounds familiar here. 2 CP for this one. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase. When a Traitoris has started as infantry or bike unit from your army, select to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, it's +1 to the wound roll. Useful enough. Yeah, useful enough. Good stratagems here. Wrath of the Chosen. Use your stratagem in your shooting phase or fight phase. When Traitoris has started his Terminator or Chosen unit from your army, select to shoot or fight. At the end of the phase, each time model that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. I guess one of the, dare I say it, one of the appeals for Chaos Space Marines is, yeah, your units are being resculpted, but there's not the whole parallel thing going on with Primaris Space Marines. Space Marines now is firstborn Space Marines and then basically resculpted bigger versions of them in the form of Primaris Space Marines. There's 2 blocks. Whereas with Chaos Space Marines, it's just Chaos Space Marines, and so they're resculpting the models, and it's keeping the amount of units trimmed right down, which is fine. I do like the idea of that. Blasphemous Machines. And I always wonder, here's a trivia question. Games Workshop's move, would they have done just as well if, instead of bringing Primaris Space Marines into the lore, instead revamped, resculpted Space Marines, maybe some more war gear and different types of units and so on, but your standard Space Marines, and just made them a little bit bigger and resculpted them really nice? Would that have worked just as well? And was there the need for full-on Primaris? It's just an observation. I mean, these models here are Primaris, they're fantastic, so it's just something to chew on. Blasphemous Machines then, 2 CP or 1 CP. Use the stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 Traitoris as Starter's Machine Spirit or Demon Engine model from your army. There's a wounds characteristic of 10 or more. To the start of the next command phase, that model is considered to have its 4 wounds remaining. If it's Titanic, it costs you 2 CP, otherwise 1 CP. Very, very useful, like a Maulafane. If you really need to fight on top bracket, you can use that. Fell Prayers, 2 CP. Use the stratagem at the start of your phases, any of your phases other than the command phase. Select 1 Traitoris to start his priest model from your army. It's not chanted to prayer this turn. The model can chant that prayer. It's not already been chanted by a friendly model this turn. The prayer is automatically heard. That's very similar to what Space Marines have. It takes effect on the start of the next command phase. You've got Fire Frenzy here. 1 CP. Uses in your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit has finished making its attack. Select 1 Traitoris Hellbrute model from your army that's hit by 1 or more enemy attacks and is not within engaged range of enemy units. That Hellbrute model can shoot as if it were the shooting phase. But when doing so, it can only target the closest enemy unit or an enemy unit containing any models that were targeted that Hellbrute model. Yeah, this isn't bad because I think you get this. You know, it don't have to be destroyed. You just get shot at and then you just shoot back. Cool. Next, the greatest, very good that one. Great Sorcerer, 1 CP. Use a stratagem at the start of the psychic phase. Select 1 Traitoris to start his Zinch Psycho model from your army. You can manifest an extra psychic power, and you can attempt to perform an action, 1 psychic action, and attempt to manifest 1 psychic power this phase. You've got Aspiring Lord, so extra royal trait. Extra relic. And then Trophies of the Long War. You can give the relic to aspiring or champion models. It's like upgrading the sergeant, for example, I believe, something like that. Next, Contempt over Caution, 1 or 2 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. Select 1 Legion Corps unit from your army. It's not within engaged range of enemy units. Until the end of the phase, models in that Legion unit can target the enemy unit even if the enemy unit is within engagement range of other friendly units. Whoa, cool. And each time a model in that Legion unit makes an attack against an enemy unit, you cannot reroll the hit roll. Any unmodified hit roll over 1 that attack scores a hit against a friendly Legion unit. Okay. If all the Legion units are engaged range, the enemy unit is selected cultist units, the stratagem costs a CP, otherwise it's 2 CP. So you can bog something down in close combat and then fire into that combat. Contempt over caution. Yeah, nicely themed. Space Marines wouldn't dare do something like that, but Chaos Space Marines would. So that's a nicely put together stratagem, that one. And it would annoy your opponent. The actual desire and the ability to even do that, just to shoot into a combat at the risk of even your own unit whilst it's fighting. So very, very cool. Unending Destruction. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. Select on Traitoris to start his infantry unit from your army, excluding cultists that's performing an action. You can still shoot without it failing. It costs you 2 CP, it's expensive. Relentless Devastation. Use a stratagem in your movement phase and Traitoris to start his infantry unit, excluding cultists from your army, makes normal move or advances. To the end of the shooting phase, provided the unit does not move again, it's considered to have remained stationary, so it could help out Havocs, perhaps, for example. Ritual Offerings, 1 CP. Use a stratagem when an enemy unit is destroyed by a Traitoris cultist unit from your army. That cultist unit automatically passes morale tests. This is until the end of the game. Then each time model that cultist unit makes a melee attack, it's +1 to hit roll. If you bother upgrading them, but the options there at 1 CP. Scorn of Sorcery for 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase after a psychic test is passed for an enemy psychic unit. And after any deny the witch tests are taken. If that enemy psychic unit is within 24 inches of Traitors to start his corn units from your army, roll 1d6 and a 4+, the psychic power is denied. Next, Shroud of Flies, 3 CP or 2 CP. Use your stratagem at the start of your opponent's shooting phase. Select one traitor to start noble unit from your army. To the end of that phase, each time an enemy model shoots, if that noble unit is not the closest eligible target within 12 inches of that model, until that shooting phase is resolved, the model cannot target the noble unit. If the noble unit has the monster vehicle, terminator or biker keyword, the stratagem costs 3 CP, otherwise it's 2 CP. Terrifying Phenomena, 1 CP. Use your stratagem at the start of the morale phase. Select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the Traitoris to start his Chaos Undivided unit from your army. At the end of that phase, your opponent cannot select the unit for Insane Bravery stratagem, cannot use any rule that would allow them to reroll morale tests for the unit. If the unit fails morale, any action fails. Tide of Traitors, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your command phase. Select one Chaos Cultist mob from your army that's either within 6 inches of a battlefield edge or within 6 inches of your deployment zone. Up to 2 D3+3 destroyed models can be added back to the unit. These return models cannot be set up with engaged range of enemy units unless those enemy units are already within engaged range of the Chaos Cultist mob. But I love stuff that lets you return destroyed models. Always been a big fan of that, so you can do that with your Chaos Cultists. Excessive Cruelty, 2 CP. Use the stratagem when an enemy unit from engagement range of a Traitoris to start his Slanesh unit from your army falls back. After the enemy unit has finished that move, select one Traitoris to start his Slanesh unit from your army that unit was within engagement range of. When the stratagem was used, the Slanesh unit can either consolidate up to 3 inches, or if it is no longer within engagement range of any enemy units, shoots if it were a shooting phase. If a selected Slanesh unit shoots, it can only target the enemy unit that fell back, only if it's an eligible target. Vicious Descent, 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the charge phase when Traitoris to start his jump pack unit from your army declares a charge move. Select one enemy unit with engagement range of that jump pack unit, then roll d6 for each model in that jump pack unit with an engagement range of enemy units. For each result that equals or exceeds the toughness, it's a mortal wound. So that's Space Marines have something similar. That should be really good if you hit the right target. Warpborn Foresight for 2 CP. Use the stratagem at the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. Select one Traitoris to start his Zinch unit from your army. It's not within engagement range of enemy units. Then select one enemy unit that is within 12 inches of that unit and will set up to reinforcements. You can shoot at them as if it were your shooting phase, but if it does so, that unit can only target the enemy unit, and only if that enemy unit is an eligible target. Winds of the Warp, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when a traitor, biker or jump pack unit from your army that advanced in your previous movement phase or that was set up on the battlefield during the reinforcement step of the phase, selected as a target ranged attack. At the end of that phase, each time attack is made against that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Alright, next, Demon Shells, 1 CP. Use the strategy in shooting phase when a Traitoris to start his unit from army selected to shoot. At the end of that phase, add 6 inches to the range characteristic of all bolt weapons. And each time model that unit makes an attack with a bolt weapon, improve the AP by 1. Nice, real nice, great. So we've seen this in different codexes, like with the Tau, for example, just taking standard infantry units, and then with the help of a few stratagems, just being able to giving them the ability to actually strike quite well. Infernal Engine, 1 CP or 2 CP. Use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase or in the fight phase when a demon engine model from your army is selected as the target of an attack. At the end of that phase, each an attack is allocated to that model. Subtract 1 for the damage characteristic of that attack to a minimum 1. It's 2 CP for Titanic, otherwise it's 1 CP. Fight, shooting or fight phase, demon engine. Well, that's a brilliant ways to protect. That's so good. Fantastic. So whatever Chaos Space Marine army decide to do, try and keep CPs available because the stratagems are looking great. Some excellent ones here. Sky Strike Missile. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Traitor's start his infantry or Traitoris start his infantry model from your army select targets an aircraft unit with a missile launcher. That model can only make 1 attack with that weapon this phase. When resolving that attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. If a hit is scored, the target suffers 2-3 mortal wounds. The attack sequence ends. And then Smoke Screen, just -1 to hit roll. If you've got the Smoke Screen keyword, you can do that. All in all, I would say the stratagems are fantastic. Really good. And then plus the pages of that we didn't review for all the various Legion options that you can go for. But that's your standard set across there. They're looking really good. And you can add some further enhancements there with the stratagems that are unique to each of the legions. So looking really good here for Chaos Space Marines. Okay, what will be key, I think, is going to be the profiles of some of these units that we're going to take a look at. Can they strike hard in close combat? Is there durability? Is there good speed around the board? Is there plenty of options? Those kind of things. Up against things like Tyranids and so on. Can you dish out tons of damage potentially with some great combinations? Those things are needed, I think, if the Chaos Space Marines are to do well. Remember, they're fighting with there's no Primaris equivalent of Chaos Space Marines, and so they're up against a higher level Space Marines now, so they need to be good. But looking alright here, good strong stratagems is an excellent support, so that's all fine. Then with the Legion traits that we've seen, there are some strong core traits going on with some of those. Nice and straightforward rolls and pretty strong sort of across the board. So far looking really good. So you've got Marks of Chaos next. So Marks of Chaos, quite straightforward. If your army's battle forged and includes any Chaos Space Marine detachments, then when you muster your army, with the exception of cultists, you can upgrade any Chaos Undivided Core or character units to receive a mark across it. They all cost 15 points a time. So you've got a unit of Legionnaires, for example, you give them the Mark of Khorne, and then that unlocks these abilities here, and you can do that across multiple units, core or character choices. So you're looking for these to be quite straightforward, and it looks like they are here. So Mark of Khorne is each time this unit makes a melee attack, if the made a charge move was charge performed heroic intervention, you get +1 strength, which is okay. And then if the unit has the icon keyword, each time model that unit makes a melee attack, improve the AP by 1, which is, again, that's really good. Mark of Tzeentch then, once per turn, the first time a saving throw is failed for this unit, it's damage 0. Cool. And this unit has an icon keyword, each time model that unit makes a ranged attack, improve the iron penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Nice and simple, I'm quite strong here. Mark of Nurgle, each time an attack is made against this unit, if the strength characteristic of that attack either equals or is at least double the toughness characteristic of this unit, subtract 1 for the attack's wound roll. And then whilst the unit has the icon keyword, each time model that unit makes a ranged attack, unmodified hit roll of 6 auto wounds the target. And finally, Mark of Slanesh, if this unit starts the fight phase with an engage at range of enemy units, it fights first, and if it has the icon keyword, it gets +1 to hit in melee. So that's fine, can't see a problem, those looking good. Then on to your standard relics. 2 pages of relics basically. I believe 3. Loads of relic choices, and that's the standard ones, plus the ones that are specific to the legions as well. So first thing it says is that some weapons are known as demon weapons. So each time the bearer is selected to fight, roll 2d6. The result is less than or equal to the bearer's leadership characteristic and fight as normal. Otherwise it must select one of the following. So if you go over your leadership, the bearer suffers d3 mortal wounds and can fight normally. Until the fight is resolved, the bearer cannot make any attacks with any demon weapons it's equipped with. Whoa, so it's a bit of a downside on this one. Ulo Kaka the Black. Chaos Undivided model only. Select one melee weapon it's equipped with. The weapon is now a relic for all rules purposes and has the demon weapon ability, as we've seen. Each time attack is made with this demon weapon, if the attack successfully wounds the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to any normal damage. Each time an attack. So I take it if you've got 5 attacks with a weapon, you could cause a mortal wound on each of those. So it's actually terrifyingly good, I believe. All we've got to do is wound the target. They don't have to fail their save and throw. So that's excellent. Zao the Rothful, Corn model only. Select a melee weapon, excludes relics the bearer is equipped with. The weapon is now a relic for all rules purposes, as demon weapon. Each time the bearer makes an attack with this weapon, add d3 to the damage characteristic of that attack. So you got to roll each bit of damage that comes through, you're rolling up separately each time, so it's going to fluctuate for every attack that makes it through, I believe. Goholax the Decayed, this is Nurgle. So it's becomes a demon weapon. Each time attack is made with this demon weapon, if a hit is scored, it's auto wounding, and you can't use any ignores wounds abilities. Feel no pain, for example. The Koyoak the Boundless Zinch model, again becomes a demon weapon. Each time attack is made with this demon weapon, ignores invuln saves. Nice. These are great. Tharis and Raihol the Rapacious Slanesh, it now becomes a relic and demon weapon, and each time the bearer selects to fight can make an additional d3 attacks. So those are all fantastic. Great. Next, Infernal Tome. Priest model only. It's given. This relic can be given to a cultist model. The bearer knows one additional prayer from prayers to the dark gods. Each time the bearer chants a prayer, if it's heard, the closest enemy within 18 and visible suffers d3 mortal wounds. Gorget the Eternal Hate. Add 1 to the armor saving throws made for the bearer. They get 4+ invulnerable save, and each time the bearer is, well, the first time the bearer is destroyed, before removing it from play, roll 1d6 for each enemy within 3 inches of the bearer. On 2 to 5 it's d3 mortal wounds, on a 6 it's straight 3 mortal wounds. And the Black Rune of Damnation can be given to a cultist model. Each time an attack is made against the bearer's unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll, and the bearer has the following ability: the Black Rune of Damnation aura ability. One enemy psychic unit is within 18 inches of the bearer. Each time a psychic test is taken of the unit, suffers perils of the warp on a roll of any double. Mantle of Traitors. Once per battle, if the bearer is selected for an epic deed stratagem, that stratagem costs 0 CP. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll. The start of the command phase. Select one Legion core unit from armaments on the battlefield. To the start of the next command phase, the unit is considered to be in range of the following aura abilities the bearer has: Lord of Chaos, Aspire to Glory, and Demagogue. And then Blade of the Relentless is a power sword, demon blade, or a cursed weapon only. You get +1 strength, 8 -4 and 2 damage, and each time the bearer fights makes an additional attack with this weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, unmodified hit rolls of 6. The target suffers 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. And then the third page here, the Black Mace. So Power Maul, a cursed, Crozius, or a cursed weapon only. You get +2 strength, 8 -2 and straight 3 damage, and each time attack is made with this weapon, excess damage, if excess damage inflicts is not lost. Instead, keep allocating excess damage to another model in the unit until either all the excess damage has been allocated or the target unit is destroyed. Nice overflow of damage coming through, which is terrifyingly good, because it means if you've got damage 3, and and you slay them into a load of soft one wound models, yeah, and you cause 9 wounds, that's just going to flow from across multiple models. So that's really, really good. The Black Mace is fantastic. It means it's good against anything. You're not wasting wounds. The Warp's Malice. It's a bolt pistol. You get range 18, pistol 2, strength 5, -2, 2 damage. If the bearer has wanton massacre, wanton slaughter, this weapon's type characteristic is changed to pistol 4. Each time attackers made with this weapon a modified hit roll of 6. The target suffers 2 mortal wounds. The attack sequence ends. Nice, really powerful pistol. Talisman of Burning Blood, Khorne model only. This model is eligible to perform heroic intervention in if it's within 6 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically of any enemy unit. So 3 inches and 5. Each time this model makes heroic intervention move, provided it ends that move closer to closest enemy model or within engaged range of enemy character unit. It can move up to 6 inches. All the other rules for heroic intervention still apply. The bearer gets an extra attack, and each time the bearer makes a melee attack that destroys an enemy unit at the end of the battle, add 1 to the bearer's attack characteristics. Next is Eye of Tzeentch, so it's a Tzeentch Psyker model. You get +1 to your psychic test, and each time a psychic test is made for the bearer, a modified result of 9+, the psychic power or psychic action cannot be denied. And then Orb of Unlife. It's range 9, grenade 1. The bearer can only shoot with this weapon once per battle. And hit rolls made with this weapon can never generate additional hits. When an attack with this weapon is made, and if a hit is scored, the target unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. The attack sequence ends. If the target unit contains 11 or more models, or the bearer is engaged in wanton destruction, the target suffers D3 + 3 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends. To end that battle, subtract 1 for the toughness characteristic of models in that unit. The Intoxicating Elixir. Slash model only. Once per battle, at the start of the fight phase, if the bearer can use this relic. If it does so, until the end of that phase, you get D3 extra attacks. The bearer cannot lose more than 3 wounds in any phase. Any wounds that would be lost after that are not lost. And then the Liber Hereticus Psyker model only. In your psychic phase, the bearer can attempt to manifest additional psychic power, and each time the bearer successfully manifests the psychic power, add 6 inches to the range of that power's effects. If the psychic power specifies multiple ranges, this rule only affects the first range specified in that psychic power. Okay, so then we're on to Dark Hereticus, the psychic powers next. So we're making good progress here. We've got the psychic powers to cover 2 disciplines, and then after that your generic standard warlord traits, and you've got your prayers, your listeners basically, your Chaos Space Marines as well. So okay, so before the battle you generate your psychic powers. Yeah, because there's 6 here, but then there's these. Yeah. Right. So if a Psyker has a mark of Chaos, it knows an additional psychic power from those shown below, as follows. Tzeentch Psykers know Skeins of Fate, Nurgle Psykers know Putrid Miasma, and Slanesh Psykers know Delightful Agonies. Right, so you get an extra. So we'll go through these first of all. So, Skeins of Fate, that's Tzeentch. It's a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select one friendly Legion Tzeentch unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of next psychic phase. You get a 4+ invulnerable, so that's really good. Putrid Miasma, for Nurgly people. Putrid Miasma is a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Legion Nurgle unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. It's -1 to hit rolls against them in whichever phase. And then Delightful Agonies here for Slanesh. It's a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Legion Slanesh unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of the next Psyker phase. Each time model unit would lose a wound. It's a 5+ for no pain. So, Infernal Gaze. These are sort of... yeah. Recognising all of these in the Thousand Suns books. You've got Dark Hereticus Discipline. So, Infernal Gaze. Warp charge value of 5. If manifested, select one unit within 18 inches invisible to the Psyker and roll 3d6. For each 4+, it's a mortal wound. If it's 10 or more on the psychic test, it's 6d6 instead. Prescience is +1 to the hit roll, walk charge value of 7. Diabolic Strength is a walk charge value of 6, as you can choose an infantry, chaos spawn, or legion chaos spawn model. Yeah. So you can't add it onto something like a demon prince, I don't think. Oh dear. Select one for any infantry or legion model within 12 inches of the psycho. Yeah, it's just one model. At the start of the next psychic phase, you get +2 strength and +2 attacks. You've got a really good loaded out character to be helpful enough. You've got Death Hex here, which is ignoring invuln saves and immune within 12 inches. It's walk charge value of 8. Gift of Chaos is value of 7. Closest enemy unit within 18 inches is visible to the psycho takes D3 mortal wounds. And you must roll 1d6 for every other enemy unit within 6 inches and a 4+ to take a mortal wound. And you've got Warp Time, which is for Chaos Spawn or infantry units within 6 inches. They can move again. Yeah, until the end of the turn, that unit is not eligible to declare a charge. Okay. Ooh, so you can't charge if you use Warp Time. No way. Yeah. Malefic Discipline next. So, Warp Marked. Malediction. Warp Marked is a walk charge value of 7. If manifested, select one unit within 18 inches of the Psyker until the start of the next psychic phase. Each time a friendly Demonkin or Demon Engine model makes an attack against that unit, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. Pact of Flesh. It's walk charge value of 5. If manifested, select one friendly Legion Core or Legion character model within 18 inches. You restore D3 lost wounds. If you select the core Demonkin unit and that unit is not at its starting strength, one destroyed model is added back to that unit with its 4 wounds remaining. Nice. It's not either or, I don't think. So in fact what you're getting is restoring wounds and restoring models. Very cool. Cursed, I believe so. Cursed Earth is a walk charge value of 7. If manifested until the start of the next psychic phase, while a friendly adds Demonkin or Engine within 6 inches of the Psyker. It's 4+ invulnerable save, which is excellent. And each time an enemy unit finishes a charge with engage range of that unit, roll 1d6 on a 2 to 4, take a mortal wound, and a 5+ it's D3 mortal wounds. Possession next. Walk charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 9 inches and visible to the Psyker, roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if the result of the psychic test was 10 or more. If the result is greater than the unit's toughness, unit's toughness characteristic, one model in that unit selected by your opponent is destroyed. Then if that unit has not been destroyed, then that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Infernal Power is a walk charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Legion Demonkin or Demon Engine unit within 18 inches of the Psyker to the start of the next psychic phase. Each time a melee attack is made by a Demonkin or Demon Engine model in that unit, unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounds the target. In such cases, for the purposes of rules that are triggered by a particular wound roll, the attack is considered to have been made with an unmodified wound roll of 6. And finally, Mutated Invigoration. It's a walk charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Legion unit within 18 inches of the Psyker to the start of the next psychic phase, add 1 to the strength or toughness characteristic of models in that unit. If the result of the psychic test is 10 or more, and you select a Demonkin or Demon Engine, add 1 to both these characteristics instead. Okay, so prayers to the Dark Gods, or listeners basically. Dark Zealotry, just re-roll your hit rolls, your standard one that's can be taken. You've got your Nurgly, Corn, options across here. Yeah. So if this prayer is, this is Wrathful Entreaty, if this prayer is heard, select one friendly Corn Core or Corn character within 6 inches of the priest. Each time all that unit makes an attack, it's considered to be engaged in wanton destruction, wanton massacre, and wanton slaughter. Mutating Invocation, this is for Zinch. Whilst a core or character unit is within 3 inches of the priest, roll 1d6 each time. Roll 1d6 each time model that unit would lose a wound as a result. Would lose a wound on a 6th, the wound is not lost. Feculent Beseechment. If this prayer is heard, select one friendly Legion core, Legion Nurgle core or Nurgle character in 6 inches. Add 1 to the toughness characteristic of models of that unit. And then Blissful Devotion. If this prayer is heard, select one friendly / core / character in 6 inches. The unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. Okay, so that's those, and then your 6 options across here. So Benediction of Darkness. If this prayer is heard, then while a friendly core character or cultist unit within 6 inches, whole within 6 inches of the priest, each time a ranged attack is made against the unit is treated as having the benefits of light cover. Litany of Despair. If this prayer is heard, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the priest and roll 3d6. If the result is greater than the unit's leadership characteristic, select one of the following to take effect. The unit can't perform actions. If it's performing an action, it fails. You can't fire Overwatch or set to defend, and you're not eligible to fight until all other units have done so. Omen of Potency. Add 3 inches to the attacks characteristic of the priest. Improve the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons by 2. Nice. Really good. And then Warp Sight Plea. If this prayer is heard, select one friendly Legion core, Legion cultist or Legion character unit within 6 inches of the priest. Each time that unit makes a ranged attack, reroll hit rolls of 1 and strips cover. Soul Terror Portent. If this prayer is heard, select one friendly Legion core, cultist or character unit within 6 inches of the priest. Each time model that unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. And then Illusory Supplication. If this prayer is heard, select one friendly Legion core, cultist or character within 6 inches of the priest. Each time attack is made against that unit. Wounds of 1 to 3 always fail, and attacks hit rolls can't be rerolled. So it's a pretty good level of protection. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to skip chapter approved rules. Those are there for you to look at when you get the book, but we'll take a look at your standard Warlord traits. There's 6 of them. Some of them are fixed here for some of the characters, but we'll call these ones out here, so your standard options, plus you've got unique ones that are available for the Legion. So for example, Black Legion, for example, they've got access to 12 Warlord traits, 6 from here and then 6 from their specific Legion as well. So we are observing here tons of variety here for Chaos Space Marines. All your standard loadouts across here of Stratagems, Warlord traits and Relics, and then plus loads of stuff for the Legions as well. So there is a massive variety here. So I'm sure there's some fantastic combinations you can go for. For Warlord traits, you've got Flames of Spite. Each time this Warlord makes a melee attack, you can reroll the attack's wound roll. Excellent. Each time this Warlord makes an attack, a modified wound roll of 6 causes mortal wounds. God. Fantastic. So Unholy Fortitude is next. Each time this Warlord would lose a wound, it's a 5+ feel no pain, fine. That's all really good. Hatred Incarnate. Each time this Warlord fights, if he made a charge move or performed heroic intervention this turn, so that fight is resolved, add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristic of the Warlord. And when you attack, you can reroll your hit rolls as well. These are really strong Warlord traits here. Lord of Terror, Aura ability. When an enemy unit is within 6 inches of the Warlord, each time Morales is taken for that unit, your opponent must roll an additional d6 and discard the lowest result. That could work out really, really well for Night Lords. If the unit fails a morale test to the end of that phase, it's considered to be below half strength for the purposes of combat attrition. Eternal Vendetta, Aura ability at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins. Selects an enemy unit until the end of the battle, whilst a friendly Legion core, Legion character unit is within 6 inches of this Warlord. Each time model in that unit makes an attack against the enemy unit, you can roll the attack's wound roll. Nice. Again, that's really strong. And then Gaze of the Gods, 4+ invulnerable save for the Warlord. And each time it makes an attack, it's considered to be engaged in wanton slaughter, wanton destruction, and wanton massacre. That's so nice. Nothing strange going on with the rules, they're all pretty good, but solid Warlord trait options for Chaos Space Marines. So this is the Crusade rules, which we'll roll through those. Is that? Yeah, that's the wings pointed forwards, looks cool on the Helldrake. So that's the Crusade army. So we're on to data sheets next. So a few little rules before we look at some of these profiles. Demon Engine, you get 5+ invulnerable save, and in the command phase you regain lost wounds, so like a Morgan Fiend for example. Then you've got malicious volleys, the usual rules for that. So Terminator is firing at full effect at long range. If you sit still, you max out on your rapid fire, for example, with that one. And then Warp Strike is the deep strike ability. So then across here you've got Let the Galaxy Burn. If every unit from your army has the Traitorous Astartes keyword, excluding models from the Agent of Chaos unaligned, and every Legion unit from your model, excluding Abaddon the Despoilers from the same Legion, unit gains the following rules. Each time model in this unit shoots with a flame weapon, when determining how many attacks are made with that weapon this phase, add 2 to the result. So for example, a flamer is d6 plus 2 attacks. And these are like auto hits usually, so the unit gains a bonus depending on which wanton act it's engaged in. So there's a massive incentive to go for flamer type stuff. Yeah, just want to do a little bit of investigation into something. Yeah. Okay, so I'm wondering if the Bow Flamer for the Helldrake would get that. In which case it would be 2d3 plus 2 Flamer hits. Yeah, so that's pretty good actually for the Helldrake. I've got a soft spot for the Helldrake because it seems to suffer in every codex. It's never really that great, but we'll come to its profile a bit later on. This unit gains a bonus depending on which wanton act it's engaged in. So during the first battle round, your army and every unit from it is engaged in wanton destruction. During the second battle round, your army and every unit is engaged in wanton massacre. And the third battle round, select either wanton massacre or wanton slaughter. And then during the fourth and subsequent, it's wanton slaughter. So it's a similar parallel to the Space Marine abilities of assault doctrine, the combat doctrines for them. So wanton destruction, whilst this unit is engaged in wanton destruction, each time model unit makes an attack with a heavy, rapid fire or grenade weapon, it's unmodified 6 scores of 6's pop extra hits. Nice, and that's with heavy weapons. Fantastic. Wanton massacre. Whilst this unit is engaged in wanton massacre, each time a model makes an attack with a rapid fire, assault or pistol weapon, 6's pop extra hits. And then wanton slaughter. Each time model this makes an attack with an assault, pistol or melee weapon, at 6's pop extra hits. Well, I have to say, that's quite straightforward and easy to remember. And powerful at the same time. So I think Chaos players are going to be happy enough with that. It's not particularly complicated. Nothing strange. Quite straightforward for flamers, getting extra hits. So it's all quite potent, this is. Nice. Alright, so happy enough with that. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to pick out bits. I'm not going to go through in detail all of the rules involved, but we'll take a look at the profiles of some of these units here. We'll give you an idea of the spread of some of the points values that are going on here as well. Just to give you an idea of what's going on. So Abaddon is 300 points, and for that you're getting 9 wound model with a 2-up save, 8 attacks base. For him, he's got Talons of Horus for shooting, range 24 assault, 4 strength, 5 -1, 2 damage. Really, it's close combat where he's meant to be really good. The Drakyin is a melee weapon at +3 strength. He fights at strength 9, and he -4 and straight 3 damage. Each time attack is made with this weapon, unmodified wound roll of 6. The target suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition. You've got the Talons of Horus, which again is strength for user this time, 8 -4, 1 damage. But you get 2 hit rolls instead of 1, so like 16 attacks. You can deep strike in, you let the galaxy burn. Mark of Chaos Ascendant. Each time this model makes a melee attack, if it made a charge move, was charged, or performed heroic intervention, you get +1 strength. Once per turn, the first time a saving throw is failed, it's damage of 0. And each time attack is made against this model, if the strength characteristic of that attack equals or is at least double the toughness characteristic of this model, subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll. And if the model starts the fight phase of an engaged range of enemy units, it can fight first. And then Dark Destiny's got a 4+ invulnerable save. You can't lose more than 3 wounds per phase. Great. He's also got the War Master. This is actually for 300 points. This is pretty good. If your army's battle forwards, this model must be your Warlord. If more than one model from your army has a rule to this effect, and then Despoiler aura while a friendly Chaos Core unit is within 6 inches of this model. You get +1 to charge rolls made for that unit, and they reroll hit rolls of 1. And then Lord of the Traitor Legions, a lot of bonuses going on for this guy. In your command phase, select on friendly Heretic Astartes Core or character unit within 6 inches until the start of the next command phase. Each time one of that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. If the unit is Black Legion, you can also reroll the wound roll. Whoa. So let me get this straight. I think he can drift around from one legion to the next, it seems to be, with him. Fantastic model from Games Workshop, brilliant resculpt from them, rules looking strong, and I think 300 points for what you're getting, actually pretty good. You got Harken the World Claimer. He's 150 points. 6 wounds, 3 up save, 7 attacks base. I think this is the mark of Chaos here, getting lots and lots of attacks. 12-inch move on him as well. He's a jump infantry model. Weapons Complete skill 2+. The Hell Spear is for shooting, range 12, assault 1, strength 7, -3, 3 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, if a hit is scored, draw a straight line between the closest point of this model's base or hull and that of the closest model in the target unit. Make 1 rune roll against each target unit and each other unit this line passes over. And the Herald's Talon is strength for the user, AP -3, 2 damage, and you can reroll wind rolls of that weapon. He's okay. Lord of Raptors, in your command phase, select one friendly Black Legion Core or Black Legion character model within 6 inches to the start of the next command phase. You can reroll your hit rolls. If it's a Raptors unit, you can reroll the wound roll. Lord of Chaos, whilst a friendly Black Legion Core unit within 6 inches of this model, each time model unit makes an attack, you reroll hit rolls of 1. These buffs and bonuses are great here. Head Taker, if an enemy character unit is destroyed by an attack made with this model, to the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack's characteristic and increase the range of the Herald of the Apocalypse ability by 6. And Herald of the Apocalypse aura, whilst an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time the unit fails a morale test, 1 additional model flees from that unit. And he's got a 4+ invulnerable save built in as well. Another pretty good value HQ choice here. You've got Huron Blackheart next. 140 points for him. 6 wounds, 7 attacks as base, toughness 5, 3 up save. For shooting, the Tyrant's Claw is range 12 assault, d6 strength 5 -1, 1 damage, and auto hits on the target. And the Power Axe is +2 strength, 8 -2, 2 damage, and you've got the Claw, 2 rolls instead of 1 at strength user, 8 -2 and 1 damage. And he's got Lord of Chaos Aura ability, reroll hit rolls of 1. The Tyrant of Badab. In your command phase, select one friendly Red Corsairs or Red Corsairs character unit within 6 inches to the start of the next command phase. You can reroll the hit roll. You've got 4+ invulnerable save built in, and the Hamadria. Once per battle at the start of your psychic phase, this model can use its Hamadria. If it does so until the end of the phase, the model gains the psychic keyword and can attempt to manifest either smite or 1 psychic power, Dark Hereticus Discipline. So then you've got your standard loadout Demon Prince. He starts on 120 points actually, and the only points you're paying is for the 10 points for the axe, 10 points for the sword, and wings is 35. And this model must be upgraded to have a Mark of Chaos, so you've got to spend another 10 points on that as well. But the Marks of Chaos are pretty good, it's not too bad. Movement 8 as standard, this is the resculpt the Games Workshop have done as well. It stays at strength 7 and toughness 6, weapons gun ballistic skill 2+, 8 wounds, 6 attacks as base, leadership 10, 3 up save. The axe is +2 strength, -2 and 3 damage, with no minuses to hit rolls. And then the Hellforged Swords, +1 strength, 8 -3, 3 damage. The Malefic Talons, again additional attack of this weapon. Strength user -1, 2 damage. He gets fly keyword if you take that upgrade. He's got Demonic Allegiance to Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle or Slaanesh. You have to take the Marker of Chaos. If you selected Tzeentch, Nurgle or Slaanesh, model gains a psychic keyword. If you selected Khorne, he gets +1 strength from attacks. Reroll 1s for core units within 6 inches. You've got a 4 up in 1 save against ranged attacks and a 5+ in close combat. Interesting. And then on an enemy unit within 6 inches of this model, subtract 1 of the leadership characteristic models in that unit. It can manifest psychic powers. you've got Fabius Bile. So the great thing about Demon Princes, it's unnamed character, so the profile's okay, the points cost is quite low, and then start stacking. It's a little bit more awkward now with the way CPs work, but start stacking Warlord traits and relics, which are, as we've seen, pretty potent, so you can actually get some great configurations of him. I used one for my 1000 Suns very effectively, very happy, and there's some great options to choose from here as well. 90 points bar is cheap. 6 wounds, 6 attacks with him, 3 up save. You can enhance warriors. At the end of your movement phase, you can attempt to perform this action. If he does so, select on friendly traitor Astartes core infantry within 3 inches. Does not have a mark of chaos keyword or enhancement. The action is completed at the end of the shooting phase, provided the unit is selected as still within 3 inches of Fabius bar. If completed, roll a d3, so it is random. Until the end of the battle, you gain either +1 strength, +1 toughness, +1 attacks. Games move so fast now. Usually they're sort of concluded turn 3. We found a lot of our battles, so whether there's time to hang around doing this kind of stuff, but you know, and at the end of the day, +1 strength, it's alright, but it's not that big a deal. You know, and at +1 attack, again, it's okay, but whether it's that big a deal. Surgeon Acolyte. Each time Fabius bar completes the enhanced warrior's action, roll 2d3 instead of 1d3 and determine the enhancement, select one of the results. The destruction of Surgeon Acolyte model is ignored for the purposes of morale tests. If Fabius bar is ever destroyed, this unit's Surgeon Acolyte model is also destroyed. The Chigurian, each time Fabius bar would lose a wound, it's a 5+ feel no pain. He regains d3 lost wounds as well. So then you've got Cypher. So 90 points for him, 6 attack space and 6 wounds. The plasma pistol, AP-3, 2 damage, strength 8, never overheats, pistol 3 actually. And then his bolt pistol, pistol 6. Mysterious protection, he's got 4+ invulnerable save. Wounds of 1 to 3 always fail. Once the battle at the end of the shooting phase or fight phase, you can remove this model from the battlefield and place it in strategic reserves. And you can shoot and turn in which he advanced or fell back. He's an enigmatic ally. If your army is battleforged and the Chaos Space Marines detachment of your army includes any Chaos Lord models, Cypher can be included in that detachment without taking an additional battlefield slot roll. It's the strangest thing to have him operating amongst Chaos. An agent of Discord, each time your opponent uses any rule that would allow them to generate command points or have command points refunded, excluding the Battleforged CP bonus, roll 1d6 and a 4+, your opponent doesn't gain the command points or have those command points refunded. And next is Master of Possession. 105 points for him. 5 wounds, 5 attack space, 3 up save, hitting on 3+, weapon skill and ballistic skill. As the staff, I won't go through all of these. You have 5+ invulnerable save built in. Enemy units take perils, they get an extra mortal wound. And sacrificial dagger. Each time this model attempts to manifest a psychic power from the Malefic Discipline, if it's within 3 inches of any friendly Legion infantry units, you can select one of those units and make a sacrifice. If you do so, select the unit takes d3 mortal wounds. You can add 2 to the psychic test. Okay, so you can like sacrifice cultists, for example. Now, yeah. So I think it would be handy if you could do that after the psychic power's done, so you know you need to look whatever result you need, and then you go and make the sacrifice. But I think you do it the other way around: you sacrifice first and then make the roll. So that could be a waste of time sacrificing, but it doesn't matter. You can manifest 2 psychic powers. It's 105, not too bad. Yeah, and again, unnamed, so you could start playing around with relics and traits and so on. The Standard Chaos Lord, I don't really call out these too much. Standard Chaos Lord will be starting at 90 points, and then you're paying points for Plasma Pistol 5, Power Axe 5, Power Fist 10, Power Maul 5, Power Sword 5, Tainted Chain Axe 5, and Thunder Hammers 20. Cheap enough HQ, you got 6 wounds, 3 up save, 6 attacks as base. Thunderhammer, plasma pistol. It's a great sculpt, the model. You've granted real hit rolls of 1 and a 4+ invuln save. It's not too much to cover on that extra. You've got the Chaos Lord in Terminator armor as an option. You've got 7 wounds instead of 6. You're a bit slower. Then you've got the Chaos Lord in Terminator armor. You get an extra wound. He's a bit slower. Yeah, there's nothing really to call out here. Exalted Power Axe will give you +2 strength, -2 and 2 damage. Again, 4+ invulnerable save for him. Granted reroll 1s. The Chaos Lord Terminator armor is 110 points, so extra 20 points. Standard Sorcerer, 5 wounds, 5 attacks. I don't really need to call this guy out here. 95 points for him. Sorcerer in Terminator armor, dreadful, one of the old models being used. It's 110 points for him. Then you got Lucius the Eternal. 120 points for him. 6 wounds, 5 attacks. The Doom Siren is range 12, assault D6, strength 5, -3, 1 damage. Sonic weapon, each time attack is made with this weapon against a unit within half range, add 1 to damage characteristic of that attack. He's got Mark of Slanesh. He's fighting first in the phase. Duelist Pride, each time this model is selected to fire if there are any models with an unmodified weapon skill characteristic of 3+ or better and engage at range of this model. Each time the fight is resolved, add 3 to the model's attack's characteristic. Each time melee attack is made by this model is allocated to a model with an unmodified weapon skill characteristic of 3+ or better, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. And then Armour of Shrieking Souls. This model is a 4+ invulnerable save. If this model is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy model, your opponent must roll 2d6. If the result is less than that enemy model's leadership characteristic, the enemy model's unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Otherwise, the enemy model's unit suffers D6 mortal wounds. In either case, you're playing a crusade battle. The enemy's model's unit must take an out of action test at the end of the battle if it was not destroyed. Then Lash of Torment. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 3 inches of this model. The unit is not eligible to fight this phase until after all other eligible units from your army have done so. You grant 3 hit rolls of 1. 120 points. So, Lord Discordant. This is one of my favourite HQ choices for Chaos Space Marines. It's a brilliant concept. The sculpt is very, very cool. He will cost, he's going to be more. Yeah, he's a straight 175. There's no other upgrades to pay. Yeah, he's 9 wounds, so there's no damage profile, and he can hide behind stuff. He's got 2 up save as standard, 6 attacks as standard, hitting on 2s, and movement 12. So it's a good profile for him. He's equipped with a Hellstalker autocannon, bolt pistol, bladed limbs, impaler chain glaive, mecha tendrils, technovirus injector, frag and crack grenades. He's armed to the teeth, this guy. And again, he's not named, so you can start stacking on extra abilities, which is very cool. So, Bow Flamer, range 18, assault 2d3. I think he's going to get that bonus with the +2 for Let the Galaxy Burn, which is excellent. Look at this, strength 6, -2 damage, and it's auto hits. I would take the Bow Flamer, I reckon. It's handy for Overwatch, it's scary for Overwatch. Brilliant weapon. The autocannon is okay, range 48 if you want the range, but I think he's going to be more of an aggressive model. Heavy 3, strength 7, -1, 2 damage. I'd take the Bow Flamer for sure. You can go for a Magma Cutter if you want to, which is range 6, assault 1, strength 8, -4 d6 +2 damage. The Bladed Limbs is strength 6, -2, 2 damage. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 4 additional attacks with this weapon. So you've got 4 attacks plus the 6. And he can fight then with the Impaler Chain Glaive, which is +2 strength, which is strength 6, -2, 2 damage. He's a Primaris Marine killer. If you made a charge move, he gets an extra +1 to the wound roll on top of that as well. God. And then Mecha Tendrils, strength 4, -0 and 1 damage. And you get an extra 4 attacks with that as well. The Technovirus Ejector. Oh wow, look at this. Each time the bearer makes melee attacks against a vehicle unit, you get +1 damage to that. So his Chain Glaive is going to be damaged 3. Yep. The Mecha Tendrils will be damaged 2. The Bladed Limbs will be damaged 3. Fantastic. So what you're looking at here is a brilliant profile, brilliant war gear, and then now options on top, plus the ability to add on war traits and relics. So the corrupt machine spirits. In your command phase, this model can corrupt either an enemy vehicle within 9 inches or one friendly legion vehicle within 9 inches. So if it corrupts an enemy vehicle or a number of d6 equal to the wounds characteristic of that model, for each 6 it's a mortal wound. Brilliant. If it corrupts a friendly model until the start of the next command phase, each time that model makes a melee attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. Yeah. Brilliant. Each model can only be corrupted once per turn. And in Spirit Thief, if this model destroys one or more enemy vehicle models with a melee attack, then until the end of the battle, it can use the Corrupt Machine Spirit's ability twice in your command phase. But Lord Discordant, fantastic unit. It's absolutely brilliant. It's fast, the profile's good, it's loads of wounds, it can hide, it's vicious in close combat. Really, really nice. So, big fan of that one. Very, very good indeed. Then you've got your Warpsmith's ability to repair models. I'm not really going to run through too much on this one here. I'll give you a points cost. I'm going to pick out some sort of key options here. But a Warpsmith is just 80 points. 15 points if you give him a Thunderhammer. Which could be worth it because he's base 5 attacks on him. Nice sculpt as well from Games Workshop. His weapon skill is only 3+, so the Thunderhammer is going to be an issue with the -1 to the hit rolls. You can bless units that are nearby, so potentially an option. Next, look how many there's so many HQ choices here. This is really healthy stuff here for the Chaos Space Marines. Loads of HQs. A Dark Apostle is straight 95 points for him. So Dark Apostle is your chaplain, basically. Again, 5 attacks, 5 wounds for him, hitting on 2s. The Crozius, it's all similar parallels to regular Space Marines, 4-up invulnerable save, the Icons of Corruption. Incredible sculpt from Games Workshop. Amazing sculpt from them, very, very cool. Okay, so Exalted Champion, liking the idea of this, you've got like a lower level champion, but really it's just your lieutenant. 5 attacks, base 5 wounds, hitting on weapons skill and ballistic skill 2+. And again, you can load him out. You can give him upgrades, border traits, relics, and so on to make him really good. We'll just call that one out. Just give you an idea of the cost of the Exalted Champion. Just 90 points. Yeah, no further upgrades points. Costs, you've got the Dark Commune here with these new sculpts from Games Workshop. Cool. Dark Commune is just a straight 100 points. It consists of a Mind Witch, a Cult Demagogue, who has an Auto Pistol, and a Commune Stave. That's here. A Mind Witch equipped with a close combat weapon. And then an Icon Arch, which is equipped with an Auto Pistol, and then the banner, and then the Blessed Blade across here as well, with a Commune Blade. They've all got frag and crack grenades. So they're all sort of toughness 3, strength 3, 4 up for weapon skill and ballistic skill. They all move 6. There's 3 wounds on the Demagogue, 3 wounds on the Mind Witch. The Icon Arch has got 1 wound, and the Blessed Blade only have 1. Blessed Blades get 2 attacks. The Icon Arch gets 2 attacks. The Mind Witch just gets the 1, and the Demagogue gets 3 attacks, and 6 up armor save. The Stave gives you damage D3, AP -1, and the Commune Blade is AP -3, 2 damage. So Faithful Flock. Once this unit contains a Demagogue model, each time a round test is taken with the unit, the test is automatically passed. And the Icon Arch aura asks a friendly cultist unit within 6 inches add 2 to the leadership characteristic of models in that unit, and they can reroll hit rolls of 1. The Mind Witch can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power and deny 1 psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase. No smite and 1 power for the Dark Hereticus Discipline. Some extra rules there about deny the witch. The priest, the unit's cult demagogue model knows dark zealotry. Right, so it's a mixture of multiple abilities, all within like a commune. So you have the ability to do prayers to the dark gods, and then also manifested psychic powers. It all comes from this little commune of models. Good idea. Interesting. So standard Chaos Space Marine Legionnaires, they are 18 points each as standard. So you've got your 2 wounds now, and we're looking at things like standard type units to see what kind of potential stuff's down the line for Space Marines. 3 attacks base of these. So I think what you're getting is you don't get your extra attack if your charge was charged, and so on like Space Marines. You just get a built-in extra attack, so base of 3, which is preferable. It's fine. The Aspiring Champion is 4 attacks as base, which is great. Still gets the 2 wounds. Leadership 9 on him. They're all hitting on 3s, moving 6. Bolt Gun, I can't see any changes here. It's all just strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. Rapid fire range 24, so it hasn't changed. The Chainsword's AP -1, extra attack. The Demon Blade gives you strength user AP -2, 2 damage. Wound rolls of 6 inflict mortal wounds. The Chain Axe is +4 strength, AP -4 and 2 damage. It's a wicked weapon. It is -1 to the hit rolls though. Okay. Right. So you can take a Balefire Tome. It costs you 20 points, I believe. Yeah, but you gain the Psychic keyword. And then it just lists all the loadouts that you can go for. Just there. So, your Chaos Icon, Demon Blade, Flamer, Havoc Autocannon, Heavy Bolter, Heavy Chain Axe, Las Cannon, Melter Gun, Missile Launcher, Plasma Gun, Plasma Pistol, all the usual stuff. Power Maul, Power Fist, Power Sword, Reaper Chain Cannon, and Tainted Chain Axe. So we'll look at a few. The Tainted Chain Axe is +1 strength, AP -1 and straight 2 damage, no minus to hit rolls. The Reaper Chain Cannon is range 24, heavy 8, strength 5, -1, 1 damage. Interesting weapon. Your standard Power Sword, I think it's +1 strength. Yeah, so we can call a lot of these out together here. Power Sword, yeah, +1 strength, AP -3, 1 damage. The Power Maul is +3 strength, -1, 1 damage. The Power Fist is -1 to hit rolls, ×2 strength, -3 and 2 damage. The Power Axe is +2 strength, -2 AP and 1 damage. So it's all quite familiar stuff, really. Yeah. So that's it for the Legionnaires, or Legionaries, for Chaos Space Marines. And the Cultist Mob, I'm calling out their profile, there's nothing too special about them. But handy to have. I use it for my Thousand Suns units that are cheap for things like retrieving Nachman data, performing actions, raising banners, all that kind of stuff, screening and protecting the back door, frontline units, filling out the board and so on, denying deep strikers from landings. There's plenty of functions for cheap cultist type units. They are 5 points a time. So unit of 10, you can go up to units of 20, but unit 10 is just 50 points, really, really cheap, and just fill out the armies quite nicely. You can go for accursed cultists, which they're 6 points a time for mutants, and torments, which you can take, are 15 points a time. So these are base of 2 attacks for these guys. They are strength 4 and toughness 4 on your standard mutants. They're a lot tougher. 6 up save. Weapon skill and ballistic skills the same, it's 4+. The Torment is 3 wounds, strength 5, toughness 4, 2d3 attacks. The Torment has the hideous mutations, so strength of the user, 8 -2 and 2 damage. So it's like a chaos spawn within a unit. It's a great idea. The Accursed Horde. So this unit cannot perform actions and cannot embark within transport models, so bear that in mind for your tactical choices. At the start of your command phase, you can select one of the following. You can return 3 destroyed mutant models to this unit, loving the idea of this, or you can return one of the destroyed torment models to the unit if it's full wounds remaining. Fantastic. You can go up to 5 to 10 mutants and 3 to 6 torments in the squad. Yep. Blasphemous appendages for the for the mutants. Strength of user, 8 -1, 1 damage. So they're cultists that are a bit more fight in them. You've got Fearsome Aura. Whilst an enemy is in 6 inches of this unit, subtract 1 in leadership. Unnatural regeneration. Each time on this unit would lose a wound, it's a 6+, feel no pain. And Mutant Rabble. The destruction of mutant models is ignored for morale. So yeah, I'm liking the theme of these. Fantastic sculpts as well from Games Workshop. You can do some great conversion work on them. Brilliant. Yeah, really liking the idea of those. Nice. Chaos Terminators, you've got 3 wounds each, 3 attacks as base with these, 4 attacks for the squad leader. They're 33 points each. They're 5 points each for all the upgrades for Chain Fist, Combi Flamer, Combi Melter, Combi Plasma, Heavy Flamer, Plasma, Power Fist and Reaper Autocannon. Don't really need to say too much. They come with accursed weapons as standard. You get an additional attack with +1 strength, 8, -3 and 1 damage. Okay. Master of Executions. 65 points, cheap Elite's Choice option. 5 wounds, 6 attacks as base with him. The Axe of Dismemberment is +3 strength, so strength 7, -3, 2 damage. Unmodified hit rolls of 6 inflict 2 mortal wounds. And the attack sequence ends. Scary enough. Each time this model makes a melee attack against an enemy character, you can reroll your wounds. He is hitting on 2s. There's no minus to hit with the axe. It's a scary close combat weapon. And Warp-Sighted Butcher. This model is eligible to perform a heroic intervention within 6 inches and horizontally within 5 instead of 3 and 5 as usual. Each time this model makes a heroic intervention move, as long as it ends that move either closer to the closest enemy model or within engagement range of enemy character unit, it can move up to 6 inches. Okay, then on to Possessed. Here, nice sculpting work from Games Workshop with those. They're 28 points a time, 5 points if you can take Chaos Icon. So they're movement 9, they are quick on foot. They hit on 3 pluses, strength 5, toughness 5, 3 wounds. They're 5 attacks as based. The champion's got 6 attacks and they're 3 up armor save as standard as well. The Hideous Mutations give them strength for the user, 8 -2 and 2 damage. They got 5+ invulnerable save, and they got the Fearsome Roar as well. Nice. Pretty good. Just like a squad of 5 would be decent enough, be 26 attacks. And then it's the kind of unit that would do well, I think, if you started adding on buffs and bonuses to them, you know, psychic powers being added on, listeners being granted to them and so on. Yeah. Oh, you got operate just little squads of 5. You can go up to squads of 10. You got Chaos Chosen. They actually got 3 wounds each. Nice. Great durability. 3 wounds a time. It's excellent. They're 25 points a time. So, Chosen. Each time this unit destroys an enemy unit, to end of the battle, this unit is considered to be engaged in wanton destruction, wanton massacre, and wanton slaughter. So that's fantastic. So 6 is popping stuff all over the place for those. Yeah, Unit Chosen. A solid unit choice. I'd say operating units of 5 of these kind of units here would be quite effective. You got the Hellbrute, which is 105 points. 5 points for Combi Bolter, Heavy Flamers 10, Multi-Melters 5, Twin Heavy Bolters 10 points, Twin Las Cannon is 20 points. So your Las Cannon here is range 48, heavy 2, strength 9, -3, d6 damage. There's nothing changed on that really going on. The Power Scourge is +1 strength, 8, -2, 2 damage. You get 3 additional attacks to that weapon on top of your extra or usual standard 5. Got 8 wounds, toughness 7, 3 up save on this thing. It's basically just a Space Marine Dreadnought. The Hellbrute Fist is ×2 strength, -3, 3 damage. Each time the bearer fights, if it's equipped with 2 Hellbrute Fists, it makes an additional attack with one of those weapons. The Hellbrute Hammer is ×2 strength, 8, -4, d6 damage. It's -1 to hit rolls though. Okay. Then you've got Monstrous Resilience, so it is -1 damage against it. Excellent, same as Space Marine Dreadnoughts. And Frenzy. If each time this model makes an attack, if it has 7 or fewer wounds remaining, reroll wound rolls of 1. Okay, so that's the loadout there for the Hellbrute. Right, next up is Noise Marines. Old sculpts here. They're desperate for a revamp, but that's bound to happen at some point. They're 21 points each, and then your Blast Masters 15 points, Doom Sirens 10 points, and so on and so forth. For those, base of 3 attacks, 2 wounds each, 3 up save as usual, Chaos Space Marine. Loadout here. So you've got Blast Master. 4 selected targets, select one of the profiles to make attacks with. Bolt gun. So I just want to see how many. Any number of Noise Marines can. Right. So any number of Noise Marines can have their bolt gun replaced with one of the following: a Starter's Chainsword and 1 Sonic Blaster. Any number of Noise Marine bolt guns can be replaced with Blast Master. Right, okay, so you can really load these out. They're looking quite good actually. So single frequency, range 48, heavy 3, strength 8, -3, 3 damage. It's ridiculous. Or varied frequency. It's range 36, assault 6, strength 5, -2, 1 damage. That single frequency is crazy. The Doom Siren is assault d6, range 12, strength 5, -3, 1 damage. Again, it's a sonic weapon, which we'll see in a moment. And then the Sonic Blaster is range 24, assault 3, strength 4, -1, 1 damage, sonic weapon. So, fight first, sonic weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, targets a unit within half range, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. God, so it's mightily impressive, actually. Very cool. So, we are now on fast attack here. Venom Crawlers. Always love this sculpt here. Very iconic for Chaos Space Marines. One of the new concepts here from Games Workshop. It's been out for a while, but it's a new sculpt here for them. So it is it's 105 points. It's actually cheap. Movement 12, so it's quick. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+, strength 7, toughness 7, 9 wounds. So there's no damage profile on this thing, which is excellent. 6 attacks of space, which is great, and a 3 up save. It shoots and fights. Excruciator cannons, range 36, assault 3, strength 6, -2, 2 damage. So it's a Primaris killer. And the Soul Flayer, Tendrils and Claws is strength user, which is strength 7, -3 and 2 damage. 6 attacks. Reservoir of Demonic Energy. While a friendly Legion Psyker is within 9 inches of this model, add 1 to psychic tests and it explodes. But that's about it. So, it's alright. It's more of a harassment type unit. It's not going to be like the total killer. But, for 105 points, it's cheap and fast. Quite durable actually. It's Demon Engine, so it can have a 5+ invulnerable save. Auto regain a wound as well, so all those things are pretty good. Quite limited what you can do with it, but it's not bad at all. Chaos Spawn, I've sort of gone for a theme with buying different sculpts, different model options. Be quite inventive with them. As 4 wounds, 5 up save, nothing's already changed. 2d3 attacks. You roll up here, that's not changed. You could get either reroll wounds, 3d3 attacks or AP -4 on them. Nothing's really changed on those, and they're probably 23 points each. Aye, they're 25. Yeah. Okay, I think they're 23 for Thousand Suns. Chaos Bikers, toughness 5 and 3 wounds each, 3 attacks as base. Not really going to call anything out with these. And they are 30 points a time. Then you got Raptors. Base 3 attacks is very cool because if you're taking the chainswords with them, they get an extra attack. There's loads of attacks available with those, nice and quick. Nothing really special going on with them, and they are 21 points each. Pretty cheap. I give them things like Flamers. We've Let the Galaxy Burn's pretty good. Warp Talons. So Warp Claws, they'll fight at... God, Warp Talons are crazy. They're 28 points each, but you are getting 5 attacks as base, 6 attacks for the squad leader. And with Warp Claws, strength for the user, strength 4, but save -2, and you can reroll your wounds, damage 1. 5 up invuln save on these as well. And Warp Flames. Each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, is within engage range of this unit, is selected to fall back, roll off with your opponent. If you win, the opponent cannot fall back. Warp Talons. Interesting. Havocs. They are toughness 5 actually, so they are a tougher version with 2 wounds, 3 up save. Basic Havoc is Oh, it's 125 points, and you get a squad of 5. So they're 25 points a time. And you just take your loadout of whatever you want to use. The Havoc autocannons, range 48, heavy 2, strength 7, -2, 2 damage. Las cannon profiles remain the same as always, or it has been for a while. They don't suffer any penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons. Great, excellent. And 6-inch move then. Then you've got obliterators. They're 90 points each, so they're quite expensive, but for that profile you get 2 up save, 5 wounds, toughness 5. They are hitting on 3+ for weapon skill and ballistic skills, no damage profile on them. They do have a 5+ invulnerable save. They get unrelenting, I'll come to the profile in just a moment. They get unrelenting firepower. So models unit do not suffer the penalty incurred for firing heavy weapons on the move. Models in this unit can make attacks with ranged weapons even whilst the unit is in engaged range of enemy units. Nice. But each model can only make such attacks against enemy units that their unit is engaged at range of. And when they do so, subtract 1 from the hit roll. In such circumstances, a model in this unit can target an enemy even if there are other friendly units of engaged at range of the same enemy unit. So, incredibly useful. They can fire into close combat. They do fight quite well in close combat with crushing fists, which they'll be at strength 10, -3 and 2 damage. And then the flesh metal guns. You're selecting the profile, so you've got a good choice, good control over what's going on. You can go for Warp Hail, which will be range. They're all range 24. Heavy D6 plus 9 shots, which is ridiculous. Strength 5 -1, 1 damage. The Ruinous Salvo, which is heavy D3 plus 3, strength 7 -2 and 2 shots. And then the Focused Malice, which is heavy D3, strength 9 -3 and 4 damage. So obliterators, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all on them things. And they're good all-rounders, you know, you can fight in close combat, tough and durable, and they can shoot with a different calibre of weapons. Not bad at all. Now, yes, now this has changed. So the Chaos Land Raider. And perhaps because Chaos Space Marine is a little bit stuck here, there's no sort of Chaos Primacy type options. So they are limited to sort of the firstborn type vehicles. So we're seeing some changes. So the Chaos Land Raider, 265 points. It's not too bad really, points wise at all. Not bad at all actually. 10-inch move. Yeah, there has been some change. Chaos Land Raider is toughness 9 and 16 wounds. And a 2-up save. Toughness 9. Whoa. And the twin Soul Shatter las cannons have changed here. Range 48, heavy 2, strength 9 -3, D6 plus 2 damage. So it is a higher caliber las cannon compared to other units. So that's now has scary firepower and it's tougher than what it was before. How interesting. That's the Land Raider. Games Workshop could do, maybe it's already available, but some real sort of really good sprue upgrades, perhaps stylized for the Legions. I guess Forge World do them anyway, but that would have been great in plastic. Chaos Vindicator, probably got a loadout change on this as well. And it's 130 points. Siege Shield's 10 points. Right, so movement 10 on this thing as well. Ballistic skill 3+, 12 wounds, toughness 8. Nice. 3-up save. The Demolisher Siege Cannon, range 24, heavy D3 plus 3, so that randomness has been removed now. It's going to get between 4 and 6 shots. Strength 10 -4, D6 damage and blast. The Siege Shield, each unranged attack is allocated to the bearer. Add 1 to any armor saving throws made against that attack. Nice. So you're now running on a 2-up armor save. That's all excellent. Okay, Vindicator's not too bad. Just some subtle changes that will just push them up and make them a bit better. See, look, las cannons for the Destructor. Back to D6 damage again. The Chaos Predator is actually toughness 8. Bolter no change. Predator Autocannon is now heavy 2d3, strength 7 -1, 3 damage on that. The Predator Annihilator. Yeah, the twin Soul Shatter las cannon is heavy 2, strength 9, minus 3 d6 plus 2 damage. The Annihilator or las cannon is better. Interesting. Predator Destructor starts at 140. Annihilator 130. The Defiler, 14 wounds, 5 attacks base, toughness 7, strength 8. Defiler cannon is now, it's still heavy d6. The Games Workshop not dropping randomness from everything. Range 72, strength 8, minus 2 and 3 damage blast. Reaper autocannon, twin heavy bolter, twin las cannon is the d6 damage. The Defiler claws times 2 strength, strength 16, minus 3 and d6 damage. And the Defiler scourge is plus 4 strength, minus 2 and 2 damage. And 3 attacks a time, so like 15 attacks for this model. Nothing special going on there. The Forge Fiend. The Ectoplasma cannons, it's got 2 of them. Or you can go for the Hades autocannon. So the Hades autocannon, range 48, heavy 4, which would be heavy 8, for taking 2 of them, strength 8, minus 2, 2 damage. Or the Ectoplasma cannon, which is what I probably would go for, would be range 36, heavy d3, strength 7, minus 3, 3 damage blast. The Jaws is strength user, minus 1, 2 damage. Moves 8, this thing. That's it, nothing else special going on with that. Forge Fiend is 110 points. Heavy Hades autocannon, 25 points. Ectoplasma cannon, 15 points. Mortar Fiend is 140 and 10 points to the Lash of Tendril, same as the Thousand Suns book. 6 attacks base, hitting on 3s, now movement 10. Yeah, nothing's really changed. The Mortar Fiend fists are great. They're times 2 strength, minus 3 and d3 plus 3 damage, really good. Yeah, and the claws, the Mortar Fiend fists are really good. Times 2 strength, minus 3 and d3 plus 3 damage. Siege Crawler, minus ignoring modifiers for charging. Chaos Rhino, don't really need to go through that. Helldrake, felt sorry for the Helldrake, 165. It is quite expensive. I think if the Baleflame is 2d3 plus 2 auto hits, that's about as potent as it's ever been. Range 18, doesn't matter because you're flying. Strength 6, minus 2, 2 damage, auto hits. 12 wounds, 5 attacks as base. Now this thing should be quite vicious in close combat. So, the Helldrake claws, strength of the user, which is strength 7, minus 2, 2 damage. If an attack made with this weapon is allocated to aircraft, it comes in at damage 4, which is nasty enough. It's an airborne predator. It's scary because the reason why this thing's is so potentially dangerous is the move on it. 60-inch move, the potential to charge and take stuff out of the sky. So it should be a terror of the skies, and with that move, it could well be. And damage 4 in close combat is potent enough. Now, airborne predator. Each time you declare a charge of this model, you can only select aircraft units as the targets of the charge. This model can only be chosen as the target of a charge if the unit making the charge can fly. You can only fight with this model if it's within engaged range of enemy units that can fly. This model can only make melee attacks against units that can fly. Enemy units can only make melee attacks against this model if they can fly. So it's hard to hit, minus 1 to hit rolls, got hover jet, so you get movement 20. Ignores loses airborne predator hit, Hunter of the Skies, get plus 1 to hit roll against units that can fly, so on 2s. Yeah, it could do alright. I'd love to give the Helldrake a chance. I don't see them too often. Khorne Lord of Skulls, 575 points, 30 wounds, 6 attacks. Just call out a little bit from him. Hardly ever see these, love to feature one on the channel one day. Demon Gore Cannon, range 18, heavy d6, strength 10, minus 4, d3 plus 3 damage blast. The Gore Storm Cannon, range 24, heavy 3d3, strength 9, minus 2, 3 damage blast. The Hades Gatling Cannon, heavy 12, range 48, strength 8, minus 3, 2 damage. The Ichor Cannon, range 48, heavy d6 plus 3, strength 7, minus 3, 2 damage blast. The Skull Hurler, range 60, heavy 2d6, strength 10, minus 3, 3 damage and blast. It does start on 3 pluses for weapon skill and ballistic skill, moves 10, strength 8, toughness 8. It gives a 2-up save now as well. Okay. And the Great Cleaver of Khorne, it can smash, which is times 2 strength, 8 minus 4 and 6 damage, no minus to the hit rolls. and it can slash, which is 3 hit rolls instead of 1, so it's like 18 attacks. It's strength 8, -3 and 2 damage. And then you've got Noctilith Crown, which looks fantastic. Brilliant piece of terrain from Games Workshop here. 14 wounds, toughness 8. Okay, and that is just 100 points, quite cheap as well. And that's it. That is the review for the Chaos Space Marines here. So all in all, as looking solid enough. I think Chaos Space Marine players, they must be happy here. More sculpts, more fantastic plastic models available here for Chaos Space Marines. So they caught up in that regard, which is great news. Still, there's some more sculpts that need to be done, but now much of the range has been vastly improved. So that's really good news. The Codex, I think, just looks solid and strong. Tons of loadouts and options available. Your standard Warlord traits, relics, stratagems, all looking really, really good. And then plus all the extra stuff on top of that you can take with the Legion, whichever Legion you decide to go for, and all the extras that are open, whichever Legion you decide to choose. So I think Chaos Space Marine Codex looks solid, and it's up there with the stronger codexes in my view. But I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you think this is an improvement, should they be even better? Have they got it about right? Leave your own comments and feedback in the comments section. But that's the review. Do check out the channel sponsor for discount 40k, available across the UK and much of the European Union as well. Free shipping available from the Outpost if your order is large enough, and about 20% or more off the cost. And it's across the board. It's other gaming systems, hobby accessories, paint, sprays and so on, all available from them. And then just use the link in the video description below. Keep a lookout for more reviews on the channel. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.